You don't want to do it on your own. You don't want to take all that in by yourself. And I know I'm someone who was like that for a while, who wanted to do everything on their own, but things got difficult and things got lonely, and I didn't want to celebrate by myself. So that's the time that I had to form a team.
Thank you for tuning in to Strategy Rewind. I'm your host, Miguel Lebron, and I'm a personal growth strategist. I help individuals think strategically and establish a strategy in order to be able to accomplish their breakthrough moment. And this podcast focuses on the strategies, the tactics, and the mindset necessary for a breakthrough moment. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the program. I'm super excited for today to be here with author, best-selling author, to be exact, world-renowned speaker at this point. He may be known to some as G Slice. I'm talking about Giovanni. Giovanni, thank you for being on the program.
Hey, no problem. It's an honor to be with you here, and it's an honor to be talking to you all this morning. It's very exciting times.
For those who aren't familiar with G Slice and the Pizza Time Chronicles, tell them how they could get lost in the sauce.
Yes, everybody. So we have a great Facebook channel. You can find us on Pizza Time Chronicles. And you can also find us on YouTube, Pizza Time Chronicles, Instagram, Pizza Time Chronicles. I kept it simple for everybody so you don't have 3 different names for 3 different platforms. If you are free, make sure you check out the current episodes that we have. We're going to be releasing new ones very soon. But yes, you can come get lost in the sauce with us.
It is evident when I see that character, G Slice. It's evident with the energy. It's evident with the presentation. I'm thinking this guy watched wrestling growing up. This guy likes sports entertainment.
Yes. WWE, Ring of Honor, whatever wrestling there is, it has been my life since I think I was 5 years old. And I loved it because, these people are characters, they have to develop a character that works for them, that they can really pull off. Some of them work, some of them don't. But, it also helped me with my speaking style too. Because with wrestling, there's something called promos, and they got to cut their tough guy talk or their inspirational, motivational talk before they get into a match. And it really helped me form this character, but as well as help me with my speaking as well.
Yeah, oftentimes we're looking for inspiration to come from the angels, so to speak. But truly, we can find inspiration and strategy from anywhere. And in this case, we're talking about strategies that we can implement from something called pro wrestling. Talk about some strategies that you have gotten from watching and engaging with wrestling.
Yes. So if some of you who are familiar, you have Macho Man Randy Savage, you have Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair. These individuals are some of the top talkers in the game, and then they can back it up in the ring as well. But what they did was invoke emotion. They were relatable to the crowd, whether if they were playing heel, which is the bad guy, or they were playing the face, which is the good guy. Another person like this is Razor Ramon, rest in peace. He was someone who can also convey. The fact is that this man, don't even think he was Latino. He was playing a rich Latino boss and
tricked everybody.
Exactly. And people were like, wait, Razor Ramon's not actually. And the strategies you can pick up from there is really invoking emotion, knowing what will piss off the people, knowing how will people draw in. I think when Hulk Hogan went heel, which shocked the world when he started the NWO, people were like, wait, this guy was portraying the eat your vitamins, get your sleep. I don't know the whole slogan, but
yeah. Say your prayers, eat your vitamins.
Right. He was, and now he's like, I'm Hollywood now. And, it changed everything. So when you look at these wrestlers in pro wrestling, it's all about evoking emotion, getting the crowd energetic, getting them into it. And you can see them speaking. You really have to get your crowd into it and interacting. Because sometimes there's people who are lecturers. And, it's great. I mean, there's some great lectures, but we're listening to you speak. And sometimes we tune out. Some of us who are interactive, we get up, we move our hands a little bit. Maybe we talk to a neighbor. That's the type of speaking engagements that, not only wrestlers do, but successful speakers do, because they want their crowd interactive. They really want to see how they're feeling. And so they're not on the phone the entire time. Okay? I've been in speaking engagements where people are just on their phone, not listening to the great message that's being said.
So we talk about wrestling. We talk about sports entertainers. To me personally, I think the GOAT is Triple H. That's to me, that's the GOAT. The reason is because he knew how to invoke emotion, as what you're mentioning. But not only that, he knew how to align himself in particular instances. When he formed D-Generation X with Shawn Michaels, he then had D-Generation X with the New Age Outlaws. He then had the Stephanie McMahon Helmsley. He then had the Evolution. So, I mean, if you look at that guy's career as a character, I like the fact that every time need be, he could form on. I mean, how can I overlook the two-man power trip with Stone Cold Steve Austin? So there's a bunch of times where he would form factions and they would be successful, but he would also have individual success. So to me, for those reasons and so many more, Triple H is the GOAT. If you were to say who's the GOAT, who and why?
I have many answers for this, but if I had to say who was the GOAT, I will have to say, because I consider a lot of things, the wrestling ability as well as the talking ability. I have to say The Rock.
That's a good one.
Because he was able to perform when it mattered. He not only went to Hollywood, but he was also wrestling at the same time. And I know he went part-time status for a little bit, but he showed up and he showed out. He was someone that if you put into a high-level match with Hogan, look at how that turned out. Hogan was, I don't know how old. People didn't think, I don't know how it was because I wasn't really active in wrestling, but maybe a lot of people didn't have high expectations for that match. But they sold. It was a 5-star match because he was in the match with Hogan. But a lot of people are like, oh, Hogan can't move. Hogan's still Hollywood. And people were cheering Hogan at one point, but that's how involved the crowd was. And I don't think nobody did it like The Rock, because I would have said Stone Cold, but Stone Cold walked out. So he worked the company to create. I think The Rock was more like he swallowed the tough pill if something was against him, and he just kept it going. And I think that's something that's every time his music hits, people still cheer.
Yeah,
like The Undertaker. I mean, you hear the gong, people still go crazy. And I would have said The Undertaker, but the thing is, his mic ability was, it
wasn't up to par.
It was mostly Paul Bearer. So
we talk about factions, and even The Rock himself had some factions, right? He had the Nation of Domination. For a moment there, he was part of the corporation, and then of course the Rock and Sock connection, the odd couple. Talk about how important it is to know when to create a faction or when to fly solo.
So when you want to create a faction, is when you want to create a bigger influence, and you want to make sure you're pairing yourself with people who align your morals, your values. You're just trying to get a bigger presence, and as well as, putting everybody else on. There's maybe some people who need help, who want to do the same thing as you, or maybe just want to be a part of a good cause. That's when you want to start forming a faction or a group. You don't want to do it on your own. You don't want to take all that in by yourself. And I know I'm someone who was like that for a while, who wanted to do everything on their own, but things got difficult and things got lonely, and I didn't want to celebrate by myself. So that's the time that I had to form a team, and we celebrated together. We did things together, opened more doors for my teammates. I wasn't concerned that they did more than me. I wanted them to do more than me. When you want to fly solo, it's truthfully, for me, it's because you have something to prove for yourself. You're trying to find peace. You're trying to see if you could do it on your own, and see if you still got it. How fans chant, you still got it. That's a chance for you. Or you notice that your group's kind of falling apart. Things are really being done on your end, and you kind of have to fly solo for a little bit before you can find a new team. And unfortunately, that's the reality. Some people have to break away to find a new team.
oftentimes my wife and I will joke around and we'll say to that chant of "You still got it," which is a chant that the fans will often do to legends in the wrestling game, right? They'll say "You still got it," and they'll make them feel for a moment, hey, now if they do, if they don't, we don't know. It might be disastrous, but sometimes it works out being very great. And oftentimes my wife and I will joke around and we'll say to each other, hey, you still got it. Like you can still keep going. Talk about keep going. Let's talk a little bit about the Geo effect. Go inspire others. Talk a bit about the Geo effect.
Yeah, so the Go Inspire Others brand, which is the Geo effect, it's something that I believe if we're able to inspire others, we are able to create the next generation of leaders. And if we have the resources available and they are accessible, we have a chance to really get people together, them not having an excuse to that they don't have what they need and they can't be successful. That's what the Geo effect is. It's mostly finding the power within yourself, but also knowing that you have someone behind you. You have that tag team partner that you can tag in and they can help guide you. I think that's really important because I know at one point I didn't have much. I was the one fighting to get resources. I was the one fighting to get answers, and even questions. People kind of threw a price tag at my face for questions. And I'm someone who believes that, once you answer questions, turn into knowledge, knowledge turns into power, and power turns into greatness. And when you don't give someone access to that really just shows your character. I appreciate my entrepreneurs who are out there grinding, taking care of their families, and, making sure they generate enough wealth so they're taken care of. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you start making it about, oh, if I answer this question for free, it's going to turn into 100 more questions for free. We have to remember where we started. We all didn't have an LLC at one point in our lives. We all had this struggle. We all went on a date where we were kind of scared we were going to be able to pay the meal, but really just being there for people. I think that's what the Geo effect really is. And really when someone says Geo effect, it's not necessarily me. It's more of that effect that, okay, now that I was inspired and I'm able to inspire, I want to pass that on. I want to be able to help the next person do that. And whether that's the younger generation or the older generation, there's people who just need help and access. And I've always said it, maybe access is not okay with everybody. And that's okay with me. But I'm going to continue fighting the good fight. When something's about just the money and people kind of smell through that, they offer this high ticket item. Okay, why is it high ticket? And then they're in the program, they're like, I don't know if I got much out of it. And, they just spent whatever they spent on it and they're like kind of in the hole, and that's draining their personal resource. Maybe money they had to save away, but will they see it back? That's the type of risk that, some people make and they do great. Some people do it and they lost money and they're again searching this new program that, they're wasting, they're draining themselves of their resources and their health. And I believe with the Geo effect, you were able to work with me and I will get you what you need. And if there's anything that needs to be paid for, I kind of like, okay, I'll find an effective but affordable option for you so that you are able to continue moving forward. Because I always tell people your most powerful resource is YouTube. There's so many content creators out there who are literally doing the work, posting this for free, but it have everything you need. And I tell people, Fiverr is blowing up. More and more people are finding about Fiverr, and there's a lot of talented individuals out there who are looking for work and who are like discounting just to get work, and, eventually those prices are going to be going away, but there's so many people out there with talents. And I really feel like we create that faction, we work together, create that accessibility together. It really just produces great results.
We talk about great results. What an amazing, amazing result has been the book, Passion, Purpose, and the Pursuit of Happiness. Right. For those who are listening and want to get connected, either just be part of the Geo effect or obtain the book or get connected with you and get lost in the pizza sauce, let them know how they can do so.
Yes. So if you have the opportunity, if you have the chance, Amazon is Passion, Purpose, and the Pursuit of Happiness. You can also find me on Facebook, Giovanni Negron-Garcia, or Geo Effect. I have 2 Facebook pages, so you can find me on either one. That is me. I am not a scammer. That is me. I sometimes comment on my home post to another profile. And you can also find me on LinkedIn, Giovanni Negron-Garcia. Is there anything else that I missed? I don't think so. Oh, you can visit my website. I always forget the website. I just updated it. GoInspireOthers.com. You can check out some of my speaking ability, and as well some of the pictures that I put up there. It's all pretty nice, and now it's
awesome, sir. Thank you so much for being part of the program and inspiring the way that you do.
Oh, thank you, and it was an honor to be in the program again. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you so much for everyone who has been connected here today on Strategy Rewind Podcast. For more information on this podcast, head over to strategyrewind.com. Of course, I also want to thank today's guest and encourage you to head over to the show notes of this episode, as you can find details on what they're doing and how you can connect with them. There in the show notes, you'll also find information on today's show sponsor, which is United Marriage Encounter. Remember, they have events going on all through the calendar year and even in your neck of the woods. Of course, if you'd like to be a sponsor of this podcast, head over to MiguelLebron.com. There you'll find details not only of how you can become a sponsor of this podcast, but also information on Miguel Lebron coaching. As always, please consider subscribing and sharing this podcast. And of course, surround yourself with people that will nourish your vision.